Imagine this. You invent a phone. Not the phone, just one phone. It's sleek, it's shiny, it's revolutionary. And it is completely useless. Because if you are the only person on Earth with a phone, who exactly are you going to call? Your future? Your landlord? The void? That is the strange magic at the heart of network effects. Some products are weak when they are small, but become dramatically more valuable as more people join. Economists describe a network effect as a situation where a product or platform becomes more useful as the number of users increases. And this is why some of the biggest companies in history didn't just build products, they built gravity wells. And once enough people fell in, the rest of the market began sliding toward them like loose furniture on a tilted floor. Tonight, we're going deep into the machine. Why network effects are so powerful, why they create giants, why they can also create disasters, and why, if you understand them, you will never look at apps, markets, or modern power the same way again. Because this is not just a business lesson, this is a lesson in human behavior, power, and momentum. So let's begin in the old world, before social media, before smartphones, before people were arguing with strangers online for free. There was the telephone. The telephone is the cleanest, simplest example of a network effect. One phone is pointless. Two phones create one possible connection. Add more phones, and the number of possible connections rises rapidly. This is the intuition behind Metcalfe's law, the idea that the value of certain networks scales roughly with the square of the number of connected users. So the first user gets a tool, the 100th user gets a community, the millionth user gets an ecosystem. And that is the first twist in this story. Most products are sold one customer at a time, but network effect products are different. Every new customer can make the product better for the existing customers too. That's not normal. Buy a chair, and my chair does not improve. Buy a sandwich, and my sandwich does not become more connected. Although, if your sandwich joins a social network, we may have larger issues. But in networks, a new user can increase the value for everybody. And that changes everything. Part 1. The secret engine of modern empires. A normal product grows like lifting bricks, one, then another, then another. Heavy, linear, exhausting. But a network effect product can grow more like a chain reaction. At first, it looks weak, embarrassingly weak. Nobody wants to join because nobody's there. This is the curse of the empty dance floor. You walk past a nightclub. Inside, one lonely man is dancing like rent is due. Do you join him? Probably not. But if the room is full, now your brain says, something is happening here. That is how network effects begin. The product is weak when empty. It becomes compelling when it reaches critical mass. Then growth can feed on itself. This is why early network businesses often look ridiculous before they look inevitable. The first social network seems empty. The first marketplace looks like a ghost town. The first messaging app feels like shouting into a cave. Then, if they survive the awkward phase, something flips. Suddenly, your friends are there, the sellers are there, the buyers are there, the content is there, the opportunities are there, and leaving starts to feel expensive. Not because the app itself is magical, but because the people are the product. That line matters, so let's say it again. In many network businesses, the users are not just the customers, they are also part of the value. That's the hidden architecture behind platforms, marketplaces, and communication tools. Part 2. Direct versus indirect network effects. Now we go one level deeper, because not all network effects work the same way. Direct network effects. This is the obvious kind. More users directly make the product better for other users. Examples: telephones, messaging apps, social networks. If more people join a messaging app, you can reach more people. That increases the utility of the app for everyone already using it. Simple, elegant, dangerous. because once your friends are all on one platform, competing apps can be technically better and still lose. Why? Because the best empty app in the world is still empty. A genius builds a superior social platform in a garage somewhere. Better privacy, better design, fewer ads. Maybe it doesn't even make you feel like civilization is collapsing. But your friends aren't there. So the app dies in silence, like a philosopher at a nightclub. Indirect network effects. Now this is where things get even more interesting. Sometimes more users on one side attract more value on the other. Think buyers and sellers, drivers and riders, gamers and developers, users and advertisers, phone owners and app creators. This is often called a two-sided or cross-side network effect. One customer group becomes more valuable as the other group grows. For example, more smartphone users increase incentive for developers to build apps. More apps increase reason for consumers to buy the smartphone. That loop can become ferocious. The platform is no longer just a product, it becomes a marketplace for attention and incentives. And once that flywheel spins fast enough, competitors are no longer racing against a company, they're racing against a self-reinforcing system, and that is much harder. Part 3. Why humans fall for networks so easily. Now, let's leave economics for a moment and enter psychology. Because network effects aren't just about software, they're about us. Humans are imitative creatures. We copy where others go, what others use, what others trust, and unfortunately dance moves from people who should have been stopped earlier. A network effect often piggybacks on a deeper psychological force, social proof. If many people use something, our brains infer it must be useful, it must be safe, it must be important. It must be where the action is. That's why the number itself becomes the product. 1 million users, top marketplace, everyone is on it, used by your friends. Those aren't just marketing lines. They are signals that reduce uncertainty, and uncertainty is the tax people hate most. So network effects don't merely increase product utility, they also increase perceived legitimacy. Once enough people use a platform, joining no longer feels like a risk. It feels like joining reality. And that's when network businesses become culturally sticky. They stop being tools. They become default behavior. Part 4. The cold start problem. Here's the tragedy. The very thing that makes network businesses powerful later makes them brutally fragile early. This is called the cold start problem. You need users to create value, but you need value to get users. It's a paradox, a business version of I need experience to get a job, but I need a job to get experience. So how do networks escape the trap? Usually by cheating reality, strategically. Not fraud, tactics. They start small and specific. A successful network rarely begins by saying, "Hello, planet, we are for everyone." That's how you become a website with 3 confused visitors and 1 accidental click from someone looking for soup recipes. Instead, smart networks often begin with 1 city, 1 school, 1 niche, 1 professional group, 1 use case. They concentrate users in a tight space until the network feels alive there. Because density creates value faster than scale. 1,000 random users scattered everywhere may create less value than 100 highly connected users in one community. So the early game is not get everyone. It's get enough of the right people close enough together that the product starts to matter. That's the spark. Then the fire spreads. Part 5. Why network effects create giants. Now we arrive at the part that makes investors grin, founders obsess, and regulators reach for coffee. Network effects can produce winner-take-most markets. Not always, but often. Why? Because once a platform gets ahead, it becomes more useful, which attracts more users, which makes it even more useful, which attracts more partners, which makes it even harder to compete. That feedback loop can create huge barriers to entry. A platform with scale can become extremely difficult to challenge because rivals struggle to achieve the distribution and user base needed to compete meaningfully. This is why the dominant platform can sometimes look invincible, not because it is morally superior, not because it has the best logo, not because its executives were kissed by destiny under a full moon, but because it crossed the line where the network itself started defending the fortress. At that point, the moat is no longer just technology. It is habits, relationships, data, partners, complements, and the pain of leaving. Old industrial power said, "We own the factories." Network power says, "We own the place where everyone meets." That is more subtle and often much stronger. Part 6. The dark side. Now here's the part people forget. Network effects are not automatic.
Network effects are not automatically good. They are powerful, and powerful is not the same as good. Because as more people join, some products do get better, but some also get noisier, more crowded, more manipulative, more toxic, more extractive. This is the shadow side. Congestion. More users can mean slower service, spam, clutter, overload. At some point, growth stops feeling like value and starts feeling like a crowd leaning on your chest. Quality dilution. In the beginning, a platform may feel intimate and excellent. Then millions arrive. Now the feed is full of junk, search results are polluted, the marketplace is crowded with low-quality sellers, and the comment section becomes proof that literacy and wisdom are distant cousins. The network grew, but the experience decayed. Negative social feedback. A giant network can amplify bad behavior just as efficiently as good behavior. Misinformation spreads, scams spread, mob behavior spreads. Outrage spreads faster than nuance because outrage is quick, emotional, and doesn't require reading past the headline. So yes, network effects can create tremendous value, but they can also create tremendous concentration of dysfunction. A powerful network is still a human system, and human systems don't just scale usefulness. They scale virtue and vice, genius and stupidity, kindness and greed at industrial volume. Part 7. The comedy of better product thinking. Let's destroy one of the most common myths in business. If your product is better, you will win. No. Adorable, but no. In markets driven by strong network effects, better is often not enough. A technically superior product can lose to an inferior product with a stronger network, because users don't only buy features, they buy coordination, access, community, compatibility, momentum. If everyone you need is on Platform A, Platform B can be cleaner, smarter, prettier, cheaper, and still irrelevant. So you must ask the harder question. What makes every new user improve the experience for the next user? Not, is it cool? Not, does it have dark mode? Not, can the button wiggle? No, does usage create more usage? That is the holy grail. Part 8. How to build network effects. Now let's make this practical. If you want to build something that benefits from network effects, you need more than a product. You need a value loop. Ask these questions. Who makes the product better by showing up? Friends, buyers, sellers, creators, developers, drivers, experts? If the answer is nobody, you may not have a network effect product. 2. What kind of network effect is it? Direct, two-sided, data-driven, community-based? Know which engine you're trying to start. 3. What is the smallest viable network? Don't aim for the whole world first. Aim for one campus, one neighborhood, one profession, one fandom, one city, one tightly connected tribe. Start where density beats scale. 4. How do you solve the empty room problem? Can you seed supply first?
Onboard power users give people a reason to invite others, make the first experience valuable even before the network matures. Because if the product is worthless before the network forms, many users will leave before the magic arrives. 5. What prevents value from collapsing at scale? How will you handle spam, fraud, congestion, noise, low quality, abuse? If you don't design for the dark side, growth can become self-destruction in slow motion. Part 9. The philosophical twist. Now let's go deeper than business. Network effects reveal something profound about reality. Some forms of value are not located inside the object itself. They emerge from connection. A phone isn't valuable because of metal and glass. It's valuable because of who else can be reached through it. A marketplace isn't valuable because of code. It's valuable because buyers and sellers can find one another. A social platform isn't valuable because of its interface. It's valuable because it turns isolated individuals into a connected graph. This is why network effects feel almost mystical at first. You look at the product and think, that doesn't seem worth billions, and sometimes, by itself, it isn't. The value isn't in the object alone, it's in the relationship field around the object. That is the hidden architecture of the digital age. The greatest modern empires are not always built from scarce physical resources. They are built from organized participation. People joined, then more people joined, then value compounded, then habits hardened, then the network became the map, and suddenly everyone else had to live inside it. So what have we learned? Network effects are the reason some products become stronger as more people join. That simple principle explains why tiny apps can become giant empires, why dominant platforms are hard to attack, why better features can still lose, why marketplaces and social apps can scale explosively, why the modern world often rewards coordination more than craftsmanship alone. But it also warns us. Anything that gets stronger as more people join can also become more dangerous as more people depend on it. Because once a network becomes the place where everyone gathers, it stops being just a company. It becomes infrastructure. It becomes gatekeeper. It becomes habit. It becomes an environment. And environments shape behavior. So the next time someone says, "It's just an app," smile politely. Because sometimes just an app is actually a machine that grows more powerful every time a new person taps join. And once enough people do, the product is no longer merely being used, it is being crowned. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, because on this channel we don't just explain business ideas, we dissect the hidden machinery behind power, money, systems, and human behavior. And if you've ever used a product just because everyone else was there, comment below with the strongest network effect product you've seen in real life. Because the scariest thing about network effects is that most people are trapped inside them before they even realize they joined.